Blaze of justice. We stand as one.
Are you gonna give me orders?
Next match is going to be good old Europe versus NA. Special coming in, of course, is representation, but kind of like adopted Korean, right? Like, does that count? So Future really coming in to represent the NA scene. And right on cue, actually, Fear Dragon did tweet about this. So, like, perfect predictions there. Says Future's going to win, guys. That would be the best upset so far.
It would be. Absolutely. As we get into this, Golden Wall is going to be our map. I actually think it was the TSL qualifier where Reynor actually had a bit of trouble against Cuddle Bear in one of the qualifiers.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah?
I didn't end up casting it despite following Cuddle Bear most of the time. But I think you're right.
Yeah.
Like, I do believe that Reynor is one of the pro gamers who can get a little overconfident. And I think Cuddle Bear is one of those guys who can also kind of go Super Saiyan with his bio sometimes. But Future is usually who we look to for the future of North American Terran StarCraft. So he's got to do it here today, man. Or end up in the loser's bracket, which is still not game over, but just, a little less of a fortunate scenario. Starting things off on Golden Wall, it's going to be Reynor in the bottom left. I reversed it. The Observer didn't catch it.
What?
I'm sorry, Observer.
Observer was on Reynor. It was perfect. You just caught...
Oh, I didn't do the twisty twist.
I mean, you just probably because you just went for Reynor off the bat. You just didn't, you didn't say they were blue. They were Terran. They're from the US of A. 7 other facts we usually list off before we introduce that the fact it's Future in the bottom right. Maybe that's why ZG.
Aye.
Calling our poor.
You also did it differently.
Well, I mean.
He was on top of that one though.
But yeah, after your introduction, you had to be ready for anything, didn't you?
Yep. Oh, this is interesting. A CC first.
Yeah.
Maybe one every 30, 40 games. How much I see that?
Definitely a map which you can get away with it on, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like it is one of those weird things, right? Where it's like tricky. You can kind of get away with it just in general. If you're assuming that your opponent's not doing anything super all-in early on, against roaches it might be difficult, but against a pool first, it actually completes before the lings even get there.
Yeah.
It's always been the tricky part to it.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because it's actually much better against certain types of aggression than you would really expect it to be. And pool first is the perfect example because against a pool first, you actually put yourself in a position where it's actually the better build than a Reaper expand, which is just crazy. Obviously, then if Roach is coming across, maybe certain things are delayed, and then you're in trouble. But yeah, that's the. It definitely gets very funky in that regard, and I don't know why. Do you know why CC first is just so out of fashion? Is it just because of how many roaches we see nowadays?
No, dude. I'm actually every time I bring this up, I'm like, yeah, it's actually like I don't see it die too often. So why isn't the standard? Maybe this is one of those things where in 3 years we're making fun of everyone for not doing it more often.
We're watching old VODs like, oh my god, this is back in the day. They were Reaper expanding. And sometimes they built 2 Reapers. What?
Oh, fools. We went through a period where 14 CC, that was what it was before the worker change, was popular enough. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's comparative with Brood War, for instance, which I think is also a 14 CC. It's funny how that worked out.
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure anymore. But anyways, anyhow. That's not been the case for a while. We also went through a phase where 3 Reaper was the popular opener on Overgrowth. Just so many overs. Yeah, Overgrowth. You remember that?
Overgrowth? Or the 3 Reapers?
Overgrowth, the 3 Reaper, Hellion pressure?
Yeah, I think I do a little bit. It
was the beginning of the map.
Yeah, it wasn't for a very long time though, right? Like a couple of weeks or something.
Well, also Swarmhurst were becoming a thing, Manhunt of the Swarm. So
yeah, so it's in my deleted memory bank, is what you're saying. Hey, double starport.
Basically, yeah. So it looks like a very decent position for the factory next to the barracks, swapping over, easy peasy. Unfortunately, Reynor probably predicting that Future would try something sneaky or something really risky, like a very fast 3rd CC. Either way, probably thinks he's the better player. Not going to play it risky. grabs Overlord speed. Did he miss the second starport?
No, he saw.
No, he didn't. Saw everything.
He has. Where is the fusion core?
It was right underneath the Overlord's
okay.
building.
So it's behind the refinery. Yeah. So yeah, he saw.
Yeah, literally everything.
All right.
Yeah.
This is what you mind game. Instead of BCs, you just go double Liberator with range.
This is when you forget the fusion core altogether and still go 2-port Banshee.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, but
my
I feel like all of these just died to the fact that Reynor's going to go for Fast Flare and Spire. So maybe it doesn't matter.
It's so funny how all these things coming out of the starport died of Spire.
Can we do something about that, actually? Like...
I think Future, like, obviously he knows he's been scouted. If this plan did not work out to the best that it could have, he's probably hoping that Reynor won't feel confident to kill him. So, like, probably still in the lead, but won't kill him. You know, if he goes into a turtle mech, takes some defensive engagements, you know, maybe he takes the back base, his golden wall. He's not going to tap out of this game, but it's not even going to be mech. So, I actually think that was his only option, was for Reynor to get tilted against a turtle mech. Going into bio after this, I don't have a lot of faith in it, but it is going to provide him more aggression opportunities. It's just that by that point, I figure Reynor will have creep spread everywhere and Baneling access to chase everything around. And, well, just simply put, I don't have much faith in Future's game since being so well scouted.
Yeah, it's a depressing outlook for the Terran player, isn't it? Hey, maybe you can make something happen if I don't know, maybe the BCs show up and they manage to do more damage than you expect. Builds a couple, gets them across the map. I'm just trying to be positive, ZG.
Right?
Yeah.
Positive smiles here. Keep
I got
smiling.
like a crazy smile on. Oh, I love this counterattack from Reynor. Just a set of Banes setting up. There's actually just no Hellions, and there's like 7 Marines. And half of them just got caught on the low ground. The other half get into the bunker, which is about to get busted down by Banelings. So it's going to do a lot of damage for Reynor, who just streams in. Now, he is losing drones across the map. The battle cruisers are attacking during this, but they're being chased away by Queens, which are in the plenty, because guess what? Reynor saw this about 4 minutes ago, or a bit less. He actually killed the BC as well, and this is what you would call a bit of a disaster in game number 1.
The disaster. Reynor absolutely just taking advantage of all the knowledge here. There's no other build that includes this Ling slow Baneling attack. Yeah. He just knew he could do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Third CC, not gonna mind. He's just gonna win the game with this. I don't know if he can do that quite. You know what? Maybe he can.
Yeah.
No, okay.
I mean, maybe not get him to leave the game. He is actually, I mean, he's behind on upgrades, so you could look at that as a positive for Future, that he has upgrade lead.
All right, I'm with you. That is a good thing. The SCV count did not go down as much as I thought they did, having to be pulled into the fight. Yeah. So Reynor's up by 16. That's not too bad. Just gold base is mining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you're doing the thing where you're just like, you're joking that he has advantages.
No. I mean, I don't think he's like, I don't think he's in like a great spot.
No.
I just think he does actually have like, it's not as terrible, like, where it's like, oh my god, this might end the game, but credit where it's due. Like, he's got an upgrade lead. We've seen Terrans pull back games with upgrade leads alone, right? 15 workers down, but he has the gold base. Reynor's got a lot of creep, but the BC's killing it. So,
every time your voice goes high, I just hear fake. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's the end of the day. It's gonna be No. He's totally got this. He's got some hope. The mute is coming out that swapped to not having to deal with the Valkyries anymore. Doesn't need corruptors, right? Mm-hmm. Not really. To dealing with this push. He did delay cervical hooks, but not enough for Future to find a timing. And Future is actually just going to try and blitz this. Take advantage of what he sees as no Banelings. Yeah. That's going to be on creep, heavily on creep.
Yeah, that's the issue for Future more than anything. Maybe the fact this creep is so far forward, so anything he wants to try and do here, he's had no map control early, really. Like, the BCs didn't really create much map control. Yeah, they cleaned up a bit of creep recently, but that's about it. Love this corrupted tanking for the mutas. BC goes down, and now Reynor's going to set up to try and get rid of this army. I mean, still scary. He's still not got his 1-1. then again, does Reynor need to fight before 1-1 finishes unless Future pushes further forwards? Because right now, Future's just kind of sat here, and Reynor's going to take the chance to try and get a tank. He brings it low. He doesn't, while Reynor lost some group spread, he's not losing bases, he's not losing drones or anything to this army set up on this gold base area. So he can just wait for his 1-1, and I think then you can just jump on this, and that's exactly what he does. Here you go, Reynor going to start running through, a couple of the Banes splitting back to minimize damage. We see the Mutalisks are going to fly through, and they should be able to chase that medevac down. They didn't, but that should have been a thing. So Reynor cleans up very comfortably, and yeah, just maybe the crew spread and the map control is just a bit too much for Future to really deal with here, because any of the advantages or things he had that maybe weren't so bad just kind of get negated by the fact he can't really attack Reynor here very easily at all. Although across the map now finds these Banes as he has to go run, and he takes a bunch of splash damage.
If those were half the Banes off creep,
yeah,
that's Reynor maybe morphing him where he shouldn't, but it was on creep with twice as many Banes. Mutas also found the reinforcements, which was always going to be a problem for Future, trying to win with his push. Basically, these reinforcements are a lifeline, and they're not able to get across the map. Also, the splash has really been taken down a notch here. Hard to get those tanks across the map. That one push, that one hold on the high ground, holding it like he did, it was good. Reynor already had so many opportunities to set up for it. Good focus fire there too, but the Mutas can now chase down the medevacs.
Yeah.
Future, this is the time where things aren't. You can't win anymore.
Yeah,
I would say. Yeah, there it is. GG. But I'd still say, I'm glad he did all those pushes. If he had just been like, oh, this is so silly, I already got scouted, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it sucks, but that's not the only power of the battle cruisers. There's still a decent chance for a push, just not decent enough.
he was all in on it as well, right? No armory on the way, so there's no oh, you should have just backed away, clean creep, and go home. There's nothing there. There's no fourth base, there's no armory, there's no 2-2. There's just no hope.
Yeah, it was a bit all in, but you can see, especially on that build, by the way, even if you do scout it, if you underreact to the battle cruisers, or try and think, oh lol, I scouted it, I'm gonna win, no problem, then you underestimate that follow-up push. That's when it gets damage done. You just didn't underestimate it. It was actually a perfect handling of that push, or any push that would look like that. So well done. Would you swap servers now, I believe?
Yes, that's what I was just double checking.
Yeah.
I guess we do just EUNA, EUNA, EU.
Mm-hmm. So that's actually kind of a cool other thing that can happen in online tournaments, is that you have the swap instead of the everyone just play on both your worst ping. And that's we get to talk about the maps being whose choice, but also the servers whose preference.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have you choose first map, but then they choose first server type situation. In that case, Reynor just won Future's server.
Future's map.
Wait, didn't we go to Europe, or did we come from Europe?
From Europe. We're on NA now.
Okay.
I think they do it so that you play your map on your server though now. Yeah,
oh, really?
I think that's how they decided it was fair. It's you get to play your map on your server, so it's you don't get disadvantage on the map you actually want to play. They kind of agreed that was just the way to do it, or something. I don't know. Amongst the players, that's how they decided, I think. So.
Alrighty.
That's how they do it in the qualifiers. So, anyways, I don't know.
We're supposed to show the cat on stream, right?
It only took 8 best of 5s. The cat hasn't arrived.
He was walking across my keyboard. This is Apollo. He's named after the Battlestar Galactica character. Oh, okay. All right.
I don't think I've ever had production in my ears telling us to show the cat. I feel like that's a new one for esports.
Hi.
Aww.
He's a lover, not a fighter. Pretty cute. I can't contribute. This actually throws me back, though, man. This cat has been with me my entire esports journey. Yeah. I cast the MLG community streams back when that was a really big deal. Community streams get 4 or 5K each. Oh, and that was one of my starts to StarCraft. And I had just gotten this little tiny kitten that I named Apollo. And I brought him up on downtime because that was also back when like an hour and a half downtime was totally expected.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, here's my kitten. Still providing that downtime content. Well done, Apollo.
Downtime cat.
But with that done now, we are into game number 2. Perfect timing. Everdream.
Nailed it.
Future tries a risky build, gets thoroughly scouted, tries to still execute the follow-up. Doesn't work out. And now we are on, at the very least, his server.
Think he procs your access?
Update.
Do you think he has something else special planned?
Give me 10 seconds, Wardy.
No. I will not give you 10 seconds. This is a loading screen question.
No. He does not do Rex. That's my final answer.
Okay, I'll take no as your final answer. It's the time to find out.
Nailed it. Yes. Okay, we're in game, guys. Everdream. Game number 2. And no SCV being sent out. There you go.
Alrighty, well,
Okay, yeah.
get this underway. As we start up, get this going. Sorry, I'm. Are you lagging a lot on this? It's just me.
No.
Easton's.
Oh, we're at NA East?
Yeah, NA East has been a bit derpy lately, hasn't it?
You got Easted, bruh.
Yeah. Turns out the further west you go, the better the servers are. Alright, well.
That's not supposed to happen.
All good. Doesn't seem to be affecting anyone else, so we're good.
Okay. Well, in the top right, super favoring the server, it is the Blue Terran Future.
Taking on the red Zerg in the bottom left-hand side, it is Reynor.
Glad the chat liked my cat. Sometimes I start to believe that I've just created a cult of crazy cat ladies in my stream. So when they're like, show more cats, I'm like, you guys are just all crazy cat ladies.
Yeah.
And then we have so many people watching and they all doing the same thing. Confirmed, not crazy.
See, the last time I had my dogs on stream, they just barked all the time. Like, they'd make an appearance now and then, but mostly in an audio version of themselves, just being very, very loud. That was also like back before I had like a proper good microphone as well, right? And it's like everything came through and the dark days.
The dark days. I was fortunate enough to always have like a pretty good setup. I didn't have dogs to bark, or my parents didn't mind me waking up 3 a.m. when I was at my parents' house.
Yeah, my parents are pretty cool about it. My dad didn't quite understand the concept of that. People could hear him in the background though. But my parents just didn't seem to understand that anyways. They'd like stand like 2 meters away having a conversation. I'm like, guys, like I just don't know what to, like, I don't know how I can explain this clear. There's like literally a microphone. I'm talking and they can hear me. How do you think they can't hear you? Like, yeah, I never understood that one.
Yeah, my mom didn't understand the camera angle, how wide the camera can be. So if she wasn't right in front of it, then she didn't think she was in the camera frame. Times. Yeah, well. So do we get something weird though? I mean, the 2-racks, I don't know, I just don't feel like Future's much of a 2-rackster, even though I'm sure he can do one. And doing it on his server would make the most sense. But I think it's still possible we see something more like a Hellbat attack. I mean, Blue Flame Hellbat, kind of a cool build of the month, build of the last 2 months. I don't know. Well, we saw it in Katowice, so it's been longer than that, but build of the moment, I'll call it that. Not going to be that, of course, but I'm just throwing things out there that's not just macro, because I do think Future is the one that has to take risks. I mean, it's one thing to be like, people in chat might be like, lol, EU versus NA, but we're talking about Reynor, the guy who like takes on BlizzCon and is in the finals. Like, this is not just Future lol NA. Like, he's actually one of the best that NA has to show, but Reynor's literally one of the best that the world has to show.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that is a tall order.
Yeah, it's such a tough draw for Future, like, because I feel Reynor's had like weaker ZVT recently as well, but he's still so good. And when we say weaker ZVT, it's like, oh, he started dropping maps to like not just Clan, but to like Youth Thermal as well. It's like, oh, well, yeah, and Hero Marine. It's like, well, those guys are also really darn good, right? So it's yeah, it's kind of tough to really, as much as I want to love Future's, to show up in this event. It was really hard when he qualified. I just feel like I feel like one of the worst opponents you could even draw in the first round. I just feel like Reynor especially just seems so good consistently. You know, I feel like other people can have off days, Reynor not so much. It's a tough one for Future, but hey, even more credit to him when he ends up winning the series and Fear Dragon proves us all wrong.
Yep. That's exactly what's going to happen. I did mention it in the beginning. I think he's going to take at least one game some way, but last game did not start off well, did not continue well. Only one brief little shimmer of hope when bailing, or 1-1 wasn't done, rather. But on to another normal-looking game here. The third CC on the wall, easily scouted by Reynor's. Well, I think his Overlord died, but also his Lings. No evolution chambers, so just going to work more on the faster difficult hooks. Unless I missed them, right? Yeah. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Future, did he get really into the main base to see all the production timing? Not really. He actually missed if the factory was put on like a tech lab ASAP or not.
Yeah, I feel like the faster lab's really taken off lately, hasn't it? I feel like a lot of Zergs like to do the faster lab because they like to also kind of get a overseer up in case there's a Banshee. Obviously, that's not too apparent in this case, so let's see exactly how much he wants to do as the attempt to catch these Hellions will be somewhat successful, gets 1 of the 4.
So, yeah, I was expecting a Spire instantly. There's the centrifugal hooks. So this pretty much guarantees that it's ready for like any base, any push off of 3 bases, rather. Whereas those upgrades can be very impactful. You know, maybe your centrifugal hooks is a bit later. But both will eventually come through. Plus, my melee should also start up when Reynor realizes he has it started. There we go. 4th base down, creep spread. Almost got those Hellions. Not quite. He's slippery. He's slippy. And the third hatch third command center, going into a forward position. I think Future has a decent 2-tank push that he's done. I have so much cat fur, guys. Like, you can hear me messing up because of that. Don't actually rub your face on your cat's fur when you're casting. That's a pro tip from
a pro
WCS caster.
You heard it here first.
Yep, this is what I'm talking about, the 2-tank push. I think he can do a decent one. Like, I think, so far nothing's really happened to throw him off his build. But Reynor doing the very typical thing. The first thing that felt like Zergs were doing to be like, nope, you can't do this anymore. Huge Ling run by.
This is just Reynor all over as well. We always talked about how he loves... we kind of stopped talking about how much he loves to run by and how he's so good at run bys because it just became such a norm in CPT, but it really is how he likes to deal with things. He actually sees that this is a good defense, though, from Future back at home, but now he uses these Lings as a counterattack, so he's able to flank in, get on top of both these Siege Tanks and these Marines, while they get forced to lift up here. They will have to back away a little bit as well, so Reynor is just going to keep on chasing this down. Reinforcements really doesn't feel like they should be rallying out here right now because he's just going to lose even more than he's already lost. And this is like down to the point where Reynor might just hit 1-1 and then be able to go and, push through for some, push through for a bit of a win. He does pull a few Lings away back to the top side as well. Yeah, this looks very good for Reynor.
Yeah. Well, Future was pretty deep on a creep to do that. Not really getting any angles either, like where his tanks are backed up against the wall. So not looking too great. He's going to try and harass, but I'm looking at his macro behind this. I think his build, as far as to the actual push, was okay, but he delayed his additional 2 barracks, the total 5, quite a bit. And then he added 4 on top of 3 and is like finishing up a 5th as well. Like, it was very out of order, okay, rather than describe the order. It was very out of order. The macro has slipped here for Future, and his third TC also didn't have a saturated mineral line for a while. Point is, Reynor is doing his thing, run buying, macroing well, getting all the bases, going up to the station pit as well, and also dealing with all of Future's would-be harassment. It looks so good for Reynor right now.
Yeah, it's just he's moving through comfortably. He's going to hit that infestation pit. Just looking great all the way through. Just going to see a few medevacs loading up on this top side, so bottom side, and just trying to do what they can, but they're getting like a creep tumor, and that's it. And then they're getting pushed back, and yeah, this map is just exploding in Zerg at the moment.
The supplies don't look that bad, but it is because Reynor's not focusing on adding on mutas, adding on more Baneling, or, Hydras, but rather that he did immediately go into the Hive. So he still has to be careful not to... that is a nice run by. He needs to be careful not to underestimate Future's second, third push, But with run bys also distracting Future and still that creep spread telling him where Future is, that it's still available. I mean, he will have time to max out. And yeah, worst case scenario, he just pulls the drones.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what he does.
The thing is, you can give up this base as Reynor. This is 8 racks as well, right? So going into, as soon as the ultras are out, you're just in so much trouble as Future because you're just not set up to really fight against ultras, etc. So Reynor's rushing up toward those. Yeah, he doesn't have them yet, but he's still in a very comfortable spot. Future going to go for a drop into the main. Reynor just sending more and more army across the map. I mean, it feels like Future's army over here just doesn't stop stimming. As you're going to see the Ling Bane gets into the natural, though, and that starts to feel dangerous. Looks like enough Marines will just survive. Meanwhile, in the main, this army here is, again, went for that mega drop. He's going to have to load up and get out of there, I think, with the Marines. The Bane's trying to reach. He doesn't load up. He stands and fights it.
Wow.
Wow.
There was definitely a bit of focus fire involved there, but it was also because Reynor's Lings were a bit slower than the Banelings. They're coming in one by one, but yeah, it's going to be easier to focus fire, but also going to see some focus fire from Future. Down to the wire, 2 Banelings hitting that is a massive difference than just the one that barely hit it. That said, more Banelings are on the way. He is forced to pick up, but for something that I thought was going to get completely demolished, that lasted a long time. He's even intentionally dropping 1 Marine at a time, hoping that this might take out all the Banelings, then he can fully unload, but it's not quite working out. Reynor struggling, though, to rebuild because his spawning pool was sniped.
Yeah, struggling to rebuild, but he killed the 3rd base, right? So I almost want to say Reynor's dead, but where's the... Reynor's dead, but where's the reinforcements going to come from here from Future? Reynor only has 16 army supply, but the second his spawning pool is done, he has 2,000 minerals to put into play. But that's obviously a big deal. And if you even get like 1 Ultralisk Cup right now, I think 1 Ultra actually does a pretty good job of making something happen here. He's getting some Banes, 46 Lings finally. Reynor getting some units out, but is it going to be a bit too late? It's going to be very close.
This is so crazy.
Yeah.
The tank even coming through is left over by the right side. It finds its place in the army again. Medevac's available for more mobility, more healing. He's going to focus fire that with his tank. 1 good shot. Second tank on the way. Unfortunately, it should be cleaned up.
Tank.
I think there might just be a bit too much. And if Future ever has to go all the way back on this side of the map, that's probably game.
Yeah, Reynor is just... He's always on top of this army, right? So the reinforcements coming through for Future, he's just on top of, and that's the issue. Future just can't seem to get away and reinforce at the same time. And you can see he's trying to like find one position he can drop in where Reynor isn't. But there's that 1 Ultra's coming up, and I genuinely believe like 1 Ultra here can do so much. Reynor's going to go running across the map. He kind of ignores the tank and the Marines in his main. He brings a few units back for it, but shutting down reinforcements. I mean, Future has shown us multiple times now he's very much so into just rallying those across the map a couple at a time. And now all of these reinforcements still getting caught, plus the defense. And Reynor gets this game. The loss of that spawning pool was very scary, but was able to make it work here in the end. And that will be GG's as Reynor goes to a 2-0 lead.
Glimpses of what makes Future a promising player, for sure, though. The decision-making to drop in the main, I would say mostly doesn't do a whole lot, but, that actually almost won him one of those, like, okay, maybe you shouldn't have won that games. I killed your spawning pool and you can't remax games. Didn't quite, but, yeah, glimpses of what could be good decision-making if it's a good game, if it's kind of, like, supported by that macro, he did mess up his build, and also supported by, like, I guess, stronger play past those risky decisions. Mm-hmm. He makes those risky decisions and then starts to falter off for multiple reasons. But when we see a guy like this, Clem had that period too, where maybe his build wasn't super tight. Maybe he was doing some crazy decisions, real risk taking, and then he kind of constrained it. And now he's one of the best Terrans that we have. So I'm glad the Future's getting to show what he can do.
Yeah.
And not just rolling over to Reynor, which some people probably expected.
I feel like Future, honestly, there's a point here where I was like, I actually thought that, really thought that Reynor was just dead. And then he found a fight where he actually was able to trade very well with very little. And that just about cleaned it up and was just about able to make it work out. So, yeah, well, game number 3. This could be it, CG. This could be our last map of the day if Reynor's able to take this one too.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I'm still guessing that 3-0. Just more like what Future can show us.
Yeah.
This has to be the one map he gets. If my, I don't know, my gimme map, the like, yeah, I think you could do it map comes here. It's into the series. It's got to be right here, right now. Otherwise, it's back to our bracket predictions.
Back to our bracket predictions. What?
The most important thing in the world. Woody.
I'm a competitive person. I want to win. What can I say?
Do you actually? Do you think you got a shot?
I don't think. I think it's very tough to win, right? Because I feel like predicting specific scores is very difficult in this kind of thing. I feel like if you have like a couple matches go wrong, obviously you just lose the entire bracket, right? So no, but I like winning. I'm doing well, so while it's going well, I'm enjoying it. So do I think I have a chance to win? No. But while it's going well, I will enjoy the moment.
Good philosophy.
It's kind of like my ladder, you know. When I'm winning, it's great, and when I'm losing, I'm like, well, this is why I'm a caster, like, you know.
I guess that kind of my ladder experience. More like when I win, I'm like, thank God. When I'm losing, I'm just like, this is how it is all the time.
Yeah.
You don't understand. That win was a fluke.
Yeah. That's so true. Like, you win, you're like, well, obviously I win. This guy sucked. Like, he did so much wrong. Like, how could I have ever lost this game? It's like, yeah, I know I microed like 7 places at once. I don't care. I'm still bad. Winning actually isn't. Winning's sometimes real sweet in StarCraft, but also it's real like sometimes it's real like, of course I should have won. Like, it's a weird feeling, you know. It's a weird one.
Oh, I'm with you. Yeah, lots of games where I'm just like, if I lost this guy, I would just have tapped out of StarCraft. That was my last game. So, last chance here. Potentially last game of the entire day. In the top right, as the Blue Terran, he is Future.
I'm excited for Reynor's response. Reynor's a funny guy. Is in the bottom left. He is our red Zerg. It is Clash's Reynor.
Guess I know. Give him the no, Reynor. Give him the confidence.
I'm very.
Or nothing.
It was looking fine. I disagree, but okay.
It was just going to be so difficult to actually take out everything, you know, with 2 other hatcheries reinforcing as well.
Do you not think like the Marines could have just got to that point? I feel like another issue maybe we didn't talk about is that he didn't have much health on his Marines that were still trying to fight for a long of the time, like in that very kind of critical moment. I did just feel like just as Reynor kind of lost the pool, he kind of traded quite badly across the map into that Marine tank force, and he just didn't quite kill a lot. But he did get a lot of damage done. So then when those units came across the map for reinforcement, it was scary, but then they didn't have the health to really finish pushing through. Maybe.
There's a decent amount of times we see a force like that end up winning the game because they get on top of all the production. And so I definitely see like you and Future, I think, being like, it was close, right? But for Reynor, I also see his point of view where it's like, well, I still had all the hatcheries to draw from. And as long as you didn't set my Baneling Nest and spawning pool twice.
Typical Zerg, really, isn't it? It's just like, you know, you can put them in the worst position in the world and probably like, yeah, this is still okay. Like, why would I be worried? I've got Zerg units. Amazing. You
know what? They'd say that's the champion's mindset.
Well, Zerg always the champion. Am I wrong? Last stage of the day, we're really turning up the temperature in here.
Oh no. What
I'm
you
gonna
are.
get in trouble.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, you see whatever you want, man. Being very impartial. He oh shoot, I was gonna bring something up and I've forgotten. Reynor going for the typical 3 hatch. Future not doing, oh, that's what I was gonna bring up. Reynor's drone scouting. You know, he is aware that Future could 2-rax him. You usually don't see them bother to drone. Like, if he was facing innovation, I can almost guarantee he doesn't use a drone to scout. Like, the idea that you do find it with a drone against someone who's, like, really playing almost perfectly lately, he's really, really good. Probably is like, I wish I didn't use that drone. I wish it was mining. Yeah. But again, against someone that you think you are going to win against, it's definitely worth it. And then, well, the last 2 games, you know, there weren't any 2-raxes, so... Better safe than sorry. No Overlord speed. No, he's not going to get it. Oh, there could be something there. Future just relied on that 2 tank push, and if he maybe tightened up the build order behind it, it is one of those situations where it's like, imagine he snipes the pool and has 20 more Marines, because his build order was really nice.
Yeah, for sure. It's there's definitely danger in Future's play, as Reynor has that link speed about to finish, so... You can still get on the map. Future again, just doing the same thing, just nice quick stim. And we've seen this Overlord getting into behind the mineral line on the natural, so you can actually check the main base and check what add-ons on what structures. It's very good for Reynor because it gives you a lot of info as to whether, you're going to face any Banshee harassment here or anything. He sees the Viking, he sees the Tech Lab's already spinning on the bio, right? So he knows this is just a Viking into bio and really nothing to worry about at all. Third CC down for Future. And Reynor probably just going to drone pretty heavily. Feelings here and there, deal with the Hellions, but it's also only 4 Hellions, right? So it's very kind of biocentric. So not even needing too much to deal with these Hellions.
Safe Baneliness timing. Yeah. Did see the factory already moved off, but safe and certainly can start some typical hooks immediately. But the factory off means no more Hellions, which means basically no Hellbats. And only 4 Hellions. Not bothering to waste 200 more minerals where you could be building a barracks, which is exactly what he's doing. Instantly swapping it off. Possibly that 2-tank push again. He's positioning last game not only so deep on a creep, but also with nothing to make it complicated. It didn't look as, I think, powerful as it could, but it is very typical on this map for a reason. You could head towards the 4th base where his Hellions are, and even with the best creep spread, we had Lambo dropping Overlord creep and then creep tumors. It's 1 scan usually, and then you're already on top of a base that they need to be actually mining from. So it's a pretty powerful move.
Yep.
Don't get a cancel here, though.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to happen.
I know. I have 4 Hellions as well. I'm like, oh no. Well, don't get Hellions surrounded. That's not meant to happen. One of them surrounded and it
Pretty
gets
good
out.
control.
Yeah, nice Hellion control.
All right. Of course, the hatchery really should never die to this, so it's totally safe now. But if it's denying the creep spread, if it's forcing the queens to maybe transfuse each other, which they're not, but yeah, it would have been nice. Now we're just more on the 2-tank push, which Reynor also probably very focused on defending perfectly. He's going to have some typical hooks and most likely either a surround or run by again. It's really difficult to have perfect run by defense. We've seen Terrans get better at it. More walls, for instance, on the left side of this, exactly what he's doing. Or having more Hellions, perhaps, keeping some back at home at the sacrifice of maybe. It's difficult to do, especially since Reynor did make a name for himself with run bys. And I mean, as you said, we don't mention it. It's also because he just got so much. He's got so overall good.
Yeah.
He was no longer the defining feature, but he is still very consistent with them. Is really what it is. He's always checking.
Here comes the Future push. He's already across the map, Reynor, looking for some damage, and is met by barracks in the wall off on the 3rd base. I mean, talk about that for a wall. That's a strong one. Really very heavy anti-baneling, but now he's going to flank in. Bunkers on the way up here, but Reynor's not wasting any time anyways. Gets straight in on top of this. The tanks are surrounded. The Marines are running, and he didn't even really waste any banelings on the tanks or anything as well. So he can continue to chase, forces a lift off, and Reynor just shuts this down already. And it's already a good start for our Italian Zerg, who will run up this ramp, has Lings coming in from the other side. Now the Banelings arrive, Marines are dropping down into this. All of this without 1-1, and Reynor is just continuing to run on through. This build of Future this time is not looking good in the slightest. Wow.
His tanks didn't get any shots on the Baneling clump, which is too bad because they were pretty clumped up. But they were already on top of the tanks, I think, while he was trying to focus fire them. But he did stop the run bys. He still has a wall to work with, a tank to work with. The game doesn't end here, but Reynor very confidently trying to push through and really do more damage, is also making sure that nothing is bothering him. The right side creeps are going to start getting out of control. The left side, usually a freebie for the Zergs anyways. Not that they usually expand over there, but encompassing the map with creep. And I guess he's going to go for that straight up hive again and not bother to stop on Spire.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Infestation, but why go Mutalisks now? You've taken a big lead early. Take that lead and just run with it. Like, Mutas, you just don't need the Mutas in this scenario, right? Yeah, dealing with the drops might be a little bit annoying, but you can get to the hive tech and you can play from there, and it's just such a safer way to play. It's hard to do this when you don't have a lead, right? And it makes life difficult on certain maps, and Mutas can absolutely help. But in this position, it's so tough for Future anyways, and I think at this point the Mutas might even just hurt him, right? If Future goes for another really aggressive attack here, then if you go for another really aggressive attack, the Mutas don't really help you in a straight up fight, and it would be very late to get the Mutas out, etc. So yeah, all of that just say I agree with you, ZG. Great call.
Thanks, man. Not even any success getting into the drone line or killing creep tumors. Future is going to have at least like 3 scans worth, unless he just dives. YOLO, as he is on a pretty Omni style of play.
Well, a little bit of Ling Bane there was a little bit outnumbered, so something that Reynor had to be careful of. Both players flowing about 1,000 minerals here, so need to be careful with spending that money. Reynor's on 90 drones against this. I mean, talk about confidence and ability or belief in your ability to defend this attack. That's a little bit scary. Definitely give it a few more Banes, especially perhaps right now, as this army comes around the left side. I mean, if Reynor wants to, you could just let this base go. It looks like he wants to flank from the top and the bottom. And of course, that's going to be very frustrating to deal with. Again, not even all the tanks are sieged just yet. And once more, the tanks just don't even feel like they get any shots off on these Balings. And Reynor crashes through to take it 3-0.
We stand as one.